don't come into town, don't stop no place in the county.
Before we begin, understand this. The Humanoid is not a sci-fi adventure. It's not about lasers. It's not about space battles. It's not even really about robots. It's a film about control, about identity being rewritten, about humans slowly agreeing to stop being human. This is a story about free will under hypnosis, power disguised as order, and how a low-budget Italian sci-fi film quietly echoed fears that modern society is still trying to name. Let's begin. Fact 1. The Humanoid was never meant to be original. From the moment it was conceived, the Humanoid knew what it was. It wasn't trying to hide it. The film openly borrowed from Star Wars, Metropolis, THX 1138, 1970s dystopian paranoia cinema. But here's the twist. It wasn't plagiarism. It was adaptation under desperation. Italian cinema in the late 1970s was collapsing. Hollywood's spectacle was dominating global screens. Local studios had two choices: compete with money they didn't have, or remix ideas they understood. The Humanoid chose the second path. But instead of copying tone, it copied fear. Fear of mind control, fear of authoritarian order, fear of technology replacing choice. That's why the film feels familiar and strangely uncomfortable at the same time. Fact 2. This film is about hypnosis, not sci-fi. Watch closely. The most powerful weapon in the Humanoid is not a spaceship, not a laser gun, not an army. It's hypnosis. Characters are reprogrammed, personalities erased, loyalty installed like software. This wasn't random. In the 1970s, public fear around hypnosis was real. Governments were accused of mind control experiments. Cult psychology was entering mainstream discussion. Media manipulation was becoming visible. The Humanoid turns hypnosis into a metaphor. What if control doesn't arrive violently, but politely? The film asks, what if people stop resisting? What if obedience feels comforting? What if freedom feels exhausting? That's not sci-fi, that's psychology. Fact 3. The villain is not evil, he is organized. The antagonist of the Humanoid is fascinating because he doesn't behave like a classic villain. He doesn't scream. He doesn't enjoy chaos. He doesn't seek destruction. He seeks order. Absolute order. In his worldview, choice creates instability. Emotion creates conflict. Freedom creates inefficiency. So he removes them. This is why the film feels colder than Star Wars. There is no passion in domination, only logic. The villain isn't asking, how do I rule them? He's asking, why should they choose at all? That question is far more dangerous. Fact 4. The Humanoid is a warning about consent. Here's something disturbing. Most characters in the film are not forced. They submit. They accept hypnosis. They allow themselves to be changed. They agree because resistance is tiring. This reflects a very 1970s anxiety. People were losing faith in rebellion. Protest fatigue had set in. Order was beginning to feel safer than chaos. The film quietly suggests the future won't be stolen, it will be given away. That's why the title matters. The Humanoid doesn't mean robot. It means a human who looks human, but no longer decides. Fact 6. The low budget made the film more honest. Yes, the sets are cheap. Yes, the costumes look borrowed. Yes, the effects are limited. But that limitation created something accidental: focus. Without money for spectacle, the film leaned into long stares, cold interiors, repetitive environments, emotionless performances. This made the world feel sterile, controlled, predictable, which is exactly the point. A polished film might have distracted you. This one traps you. Fact 7. This film is deeply Italian, not American. Even though it copies American sci-fi aesthetics, its soul is European. Italian cinema has always been obsessed with power structures, political manipulation, authority versus the individual. The Humanoid doesn't celebrate rebellion. It questions whether rebellion is even possible anymore. Unlike Hollywood, there is no clear victory, no triumphant ending, no reassurance that good wins. The system cracks, but it doesn't disappear. That pessimism is intentional. Fact 8. Humans are treated as raw material. In the film's universe, humans are not enemies. They are resources, minds to be rewritten, bodies to be redirected, identity to be standardized. This reflects post-industrial anxiety, people becoming numbers, workers becoming replaceable, citizens becoming data. Long before the internet age, the humanoid was already asking, what happens when people are optimized instead of respected? Fact 9. The hero is weak by design. The protagonist is not powerful. He is not confident. He is not certain. He doubts constantly. He hesitates. He questions himself. This is rare for sci-fi of that era. The film isn't interested in strength. It's interested in resistance through doubt. The hero survives not because he's better, but because he keeps thinking. In a world built on obedience, thinking becomes rebellion. Fact 10. Technology is never glorified. Notice something unusual. Technology is everywhere, but never admired. Machines are tools, systems are cold, progress is suspicious. There is no awe, no wonder, no excitement. This is deliberate. The film doesn't fear machines. It fears what humans allow machines to justify: efficiency, control, uniformity. Fact 11. The film ends without relief. There is no catharsis. Even when the plot resolves, something remains unsettled. Because the film understands something uncomfortable. You can stop a villain, but you cannot undo an idea. Once people experience the comfort of not choosing, some of them will miss it. That's the real ending.
Because the humanoid doesn't just show a controlled world. It shows a hollow one. A future where people are alive, but nothing inside them is moving. Let's continue. Fact 11. Emotion is removed before freedom. Most dystopian films remove freedom first. The humanoid does the opposite. It removes emotion. Characters don't scream. They don't panic. They don't grieve properly. They don't celebrate. Not because they can't, because they don't feel the need to. The film suggests something chilling. You don't have to imprison people if you first convince them that feeling is inefficient. Once emotion disappears, freedom becomes irrelevant. Fact 12. Hypnosis replaces ideology. Notice something important. There are no speeches, no propaganda posters, no grand political philosophy explained. Why? Because ideology requires belief. Hypnosis doesn't. This world doesn't ask you to agree. It asks you to submit. The film predicts a future where you don't debate, you don't resist, you don't even oppose. You simply comply, because thinking feels optional. This is why the system feels unbeatable. there is nothing to argue against. Fact 13. The city is a psychological prison. The future city in the humanoid is clean, orderly, efficient, quiet, and deeply suffocating. There are no bars, no guards everywhere, no obvious violence, yet everything feels restricted. Why? Because the city is designed to remove friction. No chaos, no unpredictability, no disorder. But friction is where humanity lives. Without it, creativity dies, identity flattens, difference becomes error. The city isn't hostile, it's anesthetic. Fact 15. The humanoid is about losing inner voice. The real horror isn't robots or villains or machines. It's the disappearance of inner dialogue. Characters stop questioning themselves, stop doubting, stop reflecting. They act, they obey, they function, but they no longer think internally. The film suggests once your inner voice goes quiet, no external force is needed. That's the true meaning of humanoid. Human shape, human movement, no internal resistance. Fact 16. The hero's struggle is invisible. Unlike action heroes, the protagonist's battle is not external. No epic fight, no grand revolution. His struggle happens internally. Confusion, doubt, moral hesitation, emotional resistance. The danger is subtle. He might stop caring, and that's worse than dying. The film argues the last freedom is the ability to feel conflicted. Fact 17. Order is presented as temptation. This is crucial. The film never shows chaos as attractive. Chaos looks painful. Disorder looks exhausting. Resistance looks lonely. Order looks calm, predictable, comfortable. That's intentional. The system doesn't rule through fear. It rules through relief. It whispers, rest, we'll decide for you. Fact 18. The film questions revolution itself. Here's something most viewers miss. The film does not glorify rebellion. Resistance is slow, messy, uncertain, emotionally draining. Victory, if it exists, is partial. The film quietly asks, is rebellion still possible when people are tired of choosing? This makes the humanoid more pessimistic than most sci-fi. It doesn't promise salvation, it offers struggle. Fact 19. Technology is never the enemy. This is subtle but important. Machines don't act alone. Technology doesn't rebel. Systems don't hate humans. Humans choose to use them this way. The villain doesn't invent control. He organizes consent. That's the most uncomfortable message of all. Fact 20. The future feels empty because it is. By the end of Part 2's themes, you realize something unsettling. This future has solved survival, but forgotten living. No hunger, no chaos, no disorder. Also, no joy, no passion, no depth. The film isn't afraid of extinction. It's afraid of continuation without meaning. Subscribe for long-form film documentaries exploring control, identity, and the hidden fears buried inside classic cinema.